The Department of Transport awarded a controversial French company, IDEMIA, an 898 million rands tender to produce a smart license card. This appointment was approved on the 8th of August 2024. Dumela Kazi, welcome back to the Cafe Libito la KK. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Please don't leave this channel without subscribing, and make sure that you voice out your own opinions on my comment section. And also make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. It helps a lot. Without wasting any more time, let's get into this video. A controversial tender was awarded to one of the controversial companies, IDEMIA, which happens to be a French company. So we need to discuss a lot of things on this video. One of them are things that IDEMIA was doing a week before it was actually awarded a contract by the Department of Transport. As you all know that we have got a new administration, so there are new things that are new things that are in process, and there's a rollout of those new things. And also in the Department of Transport, we've got a new minister who is actually foreseeing each and everything that is happening at this point of time. And also we're going to focus on this new minister of transport, because there are certain things that we need to understand about her and about her credibility, and also about the work that she did before she became the Minister of Transport. But before we go into all those things, we need to talk about IDEMIA. We need to talk about the shenanigans that they have been through, or the shenanigans that they have been involved in South Africa as a country. And also, I know there are shenanigans that are happening about this company all around the world. Just to mention one of the countries that this company had some sort of a shenanigan was in the US. But anyway, this is what is happening here. So obviously IDEMIA was appointed by the Department of Transport, and IDEMIA was actually working with Airport SA. You know Airport SA, the ones that are running the South African airports? Yes, IDEMIA was actually working with Airport SA. Don't ask me yet if they concluded their jobs, because obviously it was a mess. It was a mess until a week ago, as I'm doing this video. I think it is a week or two ago, whereby Airport SA decided to part ways with this controversial company. So Department of Transport said, we're giving you 898 million rands. We trust you with this money. We trust that you're going to deliver the job. But anyway, this is what is happening here. We're going to actually read the statement that the Department of Transport released after obviously giving this company the actual tender of this amount. So this is what the Department of Transport, and obviously people are talking. That is why I am actually doing this video, because I need you to understand. I need to keep you on speed in order for you to understand what is going on around you. There's a lot of things that are going on, but some of the things we miss, we don't see, we don't hear about them, because they don't really fit our narrative or anything like that. But anyway, Department of Transport statement goes like, the National Department of Transport has today announced the appointment of IDEMIA, Identity and Security South Africa, as the preferred bidder to produce new smart driving license cards. We have already established that. The appointment was approved on the 8th of August. IDEMIA is expected to enter into service level agreement with the department in due course before commencing with its work to put in place the infrastructure and systems. More information in terms of time frame will thereafter be made available to public once the service agreement has been signed. The new license card will incorporate new security features aimed at eliminating the ever-increasing risk of fraudulent and confetti driving license. Considering the cost drivers of producing the driving license and the risk of fraud and corruption, the new driving license will continue to be manufactured centrally. So that means we're still going to wait for another 100 years before we get our license cards. And also I'm doing this because I just went to renew my license card. And also, as we all know, that it's going to take forever. So it is done centrally. So centrally, I think that is Pretoria. So I'm in Cape Town. So I will have to wait for my license to come from Pretoria in order for me to get my license. If all goes well, obviously, we might have no problems when to get our licenses as much as we had problems before. But I don't trust that because we are talking about IDEMIA here, which has questionable track record. Anyway, the department embarked on a process to find a service provider with a tender advertisement in the government tender portal on the 5th of April 2023. That was last year. And IDEMIA at that time was working with Airport SA. Anyway, which closed on the 5th May 2023. So they were given like a month to bid their own tender proposal or whatever. This resulted into 5 bidders. I hope we know who are those bidders and how they did and why they were actually declined by the Department of Transport. I'm very curious. I would like to know who are those bidders, but we might not know. And subject, where was I? Okay, let's start here. This resulted into 5 bidders' responses that were received and subjected to thorough and transparent process of evaluation and adjudication by the bidding committee. It was also subjected to probity audit process. The probity inclusion being that all the process were in compliance with the prescribed legislation and policies. On Friday, 30th August 2022, the Cabinet of the 6th Administration approved a proposal by the department to produce a new driver's license card for the country. So that is the Department of Transport telling us about how they actually did the process to actually get this one company to be awarded 898 million rands. Even though we don't know the other bidders, we don't know how were they vetted and all of those things. We don't have that information. I'm still shocked that they had to go for IDEMIA, whereas IDEMIA's track record is questionable. IDEMIA was embroiled in another business business scandal that ended a week before the Department of Transport announcement of the tender that is now given to IDEMIA. Like, how do you give a company such an amount and such tender, whereas they couldn't finish or even run the previous tender? How do you do that? Anyway, we just need to actually visit this chaotic scandal that IDEMIA was embroiled in through the Airport SA. Okay. This is what Airport SA staff said about IDEMIA's processes and IDEMIA's work as part of the tender or the beneficiary of the tender that they had. The system the system that they were supposed to implement through Airport SA was the biometric system to help with the immigration problem that we have. So that means implementing new things, implementing the biometric, implementing facial recognition and all of those things, and cards and all those things that are going on through the immigration when you're traveling abroad or when you're coming in to South Africa, so that that process can be easier and less hassle. This system, which is the system that was implemented by IDEMIA, the system is not working. It keeps crashing, and passengers are missing flights as they wait in long queues to get through our immigration checkpoint. When we tried to raise this issue, or when we tried to raise this, we were told rather by the commander-in-chief that he doesn't want to lose his job because this system cost millions, and we know it does cost millions. Wait for it, how much it cost, then you can do your own, you can comment with your own anger and all of those things. So we have to look at passengers who think we are incompetent and don't know how to use the system. An immigration worker at one of the airports, a controversial 380 million biometric system at airports across the country, is causing all this havoc. That is the stuff at one of the airports, obviously. So the biometric system awarded to French company IDEMIA is also being challenged by a South African company, InfoVeg. So let me just quickly summarize for you what is going on with InfoVeg. So when Airport SA advertised their tender, right? So they advertise this tender, and obviously in order for you to qualify to get that tender, you have to be BEE compliant. You have to comply with the BEE, right? So IDEMIA is very clever. So IDEMIA did call in InfoVeg in order for them to have a company that they're working with that is BEE approved. So InfoVeg comes in. InfoVeg has got their own processes and all of those things, and that's what they want things to work in a certain way. So obviously, IDEMIA was accepted, or IDEMIA was the best bidder in this tender, and obviously they went with IDEMIA. So during the course of this thing, IDEMIA had InfoVeg within, but when they were accepted as the leading tender beneficiaries, they ditched InfoVeg. They decided to ditch InfoVeg. Allegedly, I would like to say that one allegedly, until it is proven in court. And another thing that came by is apparently IDEMIA was playing as a player and as a referee. What does that mean? Apparently, IDEMIA had people inside Airport SA, so they had an advantage to actually get this tender in the first place. So they were actually pretending as if they are players, but they knew that they are referees. So there is someone inside who is influencing the actual tender to go to IDEMIA. And obviously IDEMIA did not deliver. IDEMIA did not deliver. So that's why InfoVeg decided to take them to court, because they wanted to stop all this. You using us for the BEE approval, and then after that you ditching us, and you say we owe you this amount. IDEMIA, what is going on with you? Why do we have IDEMIA given these tenders? Who is IDEMIA paying for these tenders? Not forgetting that the Minister of Transport, guys, is an ANC member. This lady is an ANC member But anyway, I have summarized everything that you wanted to know. I have summarized everything. Obviously, Airport SA went for IDEMIA. Airport SA gave IDEMIA the first leg of this tender. This tender was, if I'm not mistaken, it was supposed to be four legs. It was supposed to be four, if I'm not mistaken, somehow. But they only gave it one, and they say goodbye afterwards because obviously everything was not working. So let's actually go into the statement that Airport SA made regarding the IDEMIA. I'm just going to quickly go to the statement that Airport SA made. This is what Airport SA made to release IDEMIA as part of the tender beneficiary. Airport Company South Africa, AXA, has terminated the contract for automated border control ABC. It is known as ABC. E-Gate and single token project awarded to a French technology company, IDEMIA. The contract termination is in line with the conditions of the service level agreement, which allows for a 60-day notice period. That will allow IDEMIA to conclude the work currently underway. I wonder if they will, because that system is just not really on par. AXA remains committed to the best interest of the good, I skipped something. The biometric and digital identity technology project remain key to AXA's short to medium-term strategy to ensure a seamless and efficient customer experience, connecting passengers to their next destination opportunities and goals as such. The company intentions to pursue the project in the near future. Obviously, they will still continue, but then they will have to find a company that will be professional enough to finish the job, and their workers will be able to use this actual biometric system. AXA remains committed to the best interest of good corporate governance, transparency, and fairness as we continue with an independent investigation. So the investigation that they're talking about here, AXA, is actually investigating about the actual the actual news that IDEMIA actually had an advantage to get the tender from Airport SA because they had people inside. So they were playing, and then they had a referee. They were also referees. So they had people inside. So they have to do their own investigation to know if that was true. I can tell you right now, guys, I feel like the whole thing was true. There's some things that in South Africa, they sound like it's a movie, but it's actually something that is happening. So let's go back to the Department of Transport. As I told you about the scandal of this IDEMIA company that I had to add Airport SA, which is an example of the scandals that are happening behind closed doors with these companies, especially that the company is a French company. It's not even a South African company. And obviously, when they actually say, okay, we're inviting this company and all of those things, these are the words that they are using. I'm going to tell you this word that they are using to make it sound like this company is a South African company. It says here, part of French multinational technology company, IDEMIA, multinational technology IDEMIA, which is a South African multinational. So it's everywhere. But then again, what do we know as people? What do we know? So I wanted us to visit the actual Department of Transport. Department of Transport is actually under Miss Barbara Dallas Creasy. Barbara is actually ANC member. Barbara was the same person who was under forestry previously before she became the Minister of Transport. She was forestry. From my experience, this lady doesn't have a good track record for me. First of all, not because she's ANC, but if you have been in Kruger National Park, if you have been in Kruger National Park, you would understand what I'm saying. That is a small example that I will make with Kruger National Park. Kruger National Park is the biggest national park in South Africa, right? It's one of the biggest in the African continent. It's one of the biggest. So if you go to the camping chalets and camping grounds and camping whatever in Kruger National Park, there's a lot of things that needs attention and it is not given. But the amount that we're paying to actually accommodate or for accommodation in these chalets, in these camping grounds in the Kruger National Park, they don't translate to the amount that we're paying each and every year. The service in these places, I don't know if safety is even existing in these services. There was one time whereby there was noise inside our chalet, inside our accommodation in Kruger National Park, whereby the noise no one knew. Even the handyman doesn't know anything about working at these chalets in Kruger National Park. So tell me if this woman has a good track record or she's just looking after her pocket. Just like each and every ANC member, they're looking after their pockets. How can you give a company that is just out of a contract that they didn't even complete an 898 million rands tender? What happened to InfoVeg? What is going on with InfoVeg? Where is that case of InfoVeg? Or InfoVeg they shoved some millions into InfoVeg and InfoVeg kept quiet. What is going on, guys? We need to understand this country. What is going on? Barbara is just not the person that should be in that Department of Transport. I feel like Department of Transport should have been taken by a different party. I don't think it was supposed to be under ANC. They made sure that they don't want to give it away because there's a lot of tenders that are actually underway. There's a lot of tenders with the Department of Transport that are underway. There's a lot of tenders that will come out from the Department of Transport, and they decided not to give it to any other party except ANC because they know it will be their cash cow, because now the other cash cows are no longer in there. And we're not speaking about it a lot. Whatever that I've read here, whatever that I talked about here, it's not out there as much, because we are not angry enough about the expenditure and the shady companies that are used by government. Anyway, please let me know what you think about this whole thing. I'll see you on my next upload. Please do make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you comment with your own views. And please do like this video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you on my next upload. Have a fantastic one. Peace out.